Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how I only pay about $300 per month in insurance. And I'm also going to talk about the other expenses I have associated with my vehicles. And the reason I'm making this video is I had a bunch of questions in the last video I made talking about how I paid off all of the cars that I own. And so I figured rather than just going through and trying to answer everyone's comments, I just make another video to answer all of those questions. So we're basically just going to talk about the general costs, because I think that a lot of people think that it costs a lot more money to own a bunch of vehicles than it actually does. But with that being said, before we get into the video, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And then if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Let's get into it. Now we're back in the garage because I'm going to show you guys the cars that I currently own if you didn't see the last video. So the first vehicle that I actually won't be able to show you because it's off getting a new windshield is my pink Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. It's a 2022. And then this is my wife's 2022 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. And then this is my daily driver. Typically it's my 2021 Ford Raptor. And then I've got to kind of loop around here. Oof. Tight squeeze. And then this is my 2022 Shelby GT500. This is the car that I just most recently purchased. I had a Ram TRX before this, and I traded the Ram TRX for this GT500. Like I've said over the course of several videos, I'm actually already selling this car for a different car. I'll have an update video on the, most likely on the main channel, not on this channel, with that whole transaction, why I did that. Those are the cars that I own. So the first thing I want to talk about before we talk about insurance costs is actually the cost of ownership with all the vehicles, because it's substantially less than what people would think. People think that owning 4 cars, I'm probably be spending just a boatload of money on maintenance, but here's the deal. All of the cars are pretty much brand new. Like, you know, the Raptor is the least new. It's got like almost 10,000 miles on it, but they're all, you know, pretty new and not a ton of miles. So what that means is that, well, if anything breaks on the vehicles, it's covered under manufacturer warranty, so there's no cost there for me. And then when it comes to general maintenance, it's actually super cheap. With all of these vehicles, it's basically just oil changes and tire rotations. That's it. So something like the Toyota 4Runner, for example, I mean, like, it's only going to cost maybe like less than $100 per year to maintain tire rotations, oil changes. Same thing with the Ford Raptor, frankly. Now the GT500 might be a little bit more, maybe over $100 because of the type of oil it needs, but nothing too special there. And then same thing with the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. So on an average year, if I don't do any stupid modifications on a car that make the car break, if I just keep the car stock, I literally will only spend about $100-ish per year in terms of maintenance costs on the vehicles. And you guys can see this is exactly why I tend to circulate, you know, new cars through, so that I don't really ever have to pay any sort of like actual maintenance costs on vehicles, which, you know, if you pay enough in maintenance costs on a vehicle, that kind of turns into another car payment. And that was obviously one of my goals as an enthusiast, is to be able to enjoy the cars without having a lot of the downsides that are associated with enjoying the cars. I just realized what I said is probably going to get me made fun of in the comment section below, because instead of being a normal car person that actually likes to work on their cars, I literally will typically sell my cars as soon as they need several items replaced. Like the Ram TRX, for example, it was, you know, not quite in the level of where it needed new tires, but it was pretty close to needing new tires. And so instead of buying the truck new tires, just sell it and buy a different car and move on. So yeah, make fun of me as much as you want in the comment section below, but it saved me a ton of money. And that leads me into the whole insurance situation. So I know that it might sound impossible that I'm only paying about $300 per month with insurance, but once you hear all the details, it'll make a whole lot more sense. So first off, I'm 25 years old, which is pretty young from an insurance perspective, but I happen to be married, and being married helps you out so much when it comes to insurance. Like, it is ridiculous. Before I was married, I was under my mom's plan when it came to car insurance, and leaving her plan and then going on my own plan being married, like, I saved so much. Well, it wasn't an insane amount of money, but it was a decent amount of money. I think that it cut the insurance bill by like 1/3 roughly, which I think that's quite substantial. So yeah, being married helps out. So go find the love of your life so that you can pay less in car insurance. And then the next thing is where you live. So I happen to live in Utah, and Utah is actually not the best place for car insurance, because we just got rated as the state with the worst drivers in the nation because there's so many wrecks here in Utah, especially in the winter. And so insurance premiums can actually tend to be a little bit higher in Utah compared to other regions in the US. However, instead of working with one of those big name brand national insurance companies, I picked a local insurance company, and this can actually help you out quite substantially, because with a local insurance company, you can really get to know the company. And that means that you can get a deal that is usually better than what you should get from an insurance perspective. So what I've done is I have all my cars insured with this company, and I have my house insured with this company as well. And I basically let them know, like, hey, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm going to be a long time customer. And here's the deal. Like, I've been in one accident in my entire life. It was when I was like 17, and it was the other person's fault. And so I'm not a high risk person. And so they're going to be willing to give me a much lower premium compared to one of those big national companies that's just going to basically type in my zip code and go, oh, this is what you qualify for because you live in Utah, and Utah has horrible drivers. So working with a local company and building a relationship with a local company is going to help you out quite substantially. Now, the next part is having a higher deductible. With insurance, if you have a lower deductible, that usually puts you in a position where you're, going to have a higher monthly payment. But if you have a higher deductible, aka the amount of money you have to pay out of pocket before the insurance company comes in, then your monthly payment will be a little bit less. So I have my deductible set at about $1,000 on each car, which isn't low, but it's also not extremely high either. And the reason I have that set is that's basically the highest that that company has right now, and I'm hoping that they'll eventually go higher because I never plan on having using the insurance, right? Like, I have it just in case, but I don't plan on using it, and so I'm okay with having like the highest deductible possible. So that also helps out with lowering the rate. Now, the next thing that helps out is the fact that I have everything bundled. Like I said earlier, I have all my cars and my house on the insurance plan, so that also helps bring down the premium. And then the other thing that is really important is the types of cars that I own. Now, I know that you guys might think that, a V8 powered Wrangler and, a Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, GT500, and Ford Raptor are, pretty crazy, and they should have pretty high insurance premiums, especially like the GT500. But the insurance company doesn't look at it that way. When I give the VIN to those cars to the insurance company, they see it as a Ford Mustang, a Jeep Wrangler, a Ford F-150, and a Toyota 4Runner, which are all, the Mustang, right? Actually, that is kind of a normal car because you have all the EcoBoost rentals. So they're all relatively normal cars from an insurance perspective. And I'm not doing anything shady. Like, that's all the insurance company asks for. They just ask for the VIN. They don't say, hey, is that a Shelby GT500? They just go 2022 Ford Mustang. That's it. And if you look at the title on the, like I have the titles to all the vehicles, it's kind of funny. Like, how the state has them registered is the exact same way. Like, if you buy a Ford Raptor, it's not registered as a Ford Raptor. It's registered as a Ford F-150. So that also does help out with the insurance premiums quite a bit because I'm basically getting the same insurance rate that like an EcoBoost Mustang driver would get, for example. And so buying regular cars that have insane packages on them actually helps you out quite substantially from an insurance perspective. And then, what I mentioned earlier, I've been in one accident in my entire life when I was 17, and it wasn't my fault. So like having, a relatively clean record. Now, I do have some speeding tickets, I'll be honest about that. And so my record's not perfect, but I don't have anything crazy on there. Not like I don't have reckless driving or anything like that. That is also going to affect your insurance premium as well. And then the last thing is how you pay your insurance premium. Now, this actually isn't something that I'm using right now because I didn't know about this until like a few weeks ago. But if you pay your entire insurance premium at the beginning of the year, then usually your insurance company will give you a better deal. And this is something that I'm going to be doing moving forward. So right now I'm paying just over $300 per month in insurance. That's actually going to go down next year because I told my insurance company that I'll just pay the entire premium at the beginning of the year. And so with all those things put into place, that actually helps out quite a bit. And then the last thing, I almost forgot, is going to be mileage. So because I buy and sell vehicles at such a rapid rate, the amount of miles that I put on the vehicles doesn't really matter to the insurance company. And so a lot of insurance companies will offer low mileage discounts. Now, these low mileage discounts only ever get canceled out if you keep the car for long enough. But if you sell a car every 3 to 6 months, like what I do, then basically the insurance company just sees that I constantly have brand new vehicles on the policy. And so then I can also, usually get a discount because of that. And again, the insurance company at the end of the day doesn't care because again, I'm not getting in accidents. And even if I was, putting like the Raptor, for example, has like almost 10,000 miles on it. Even if I am putting a lot of miles on the vehicles, I sell them usually after 6 months and, sometimes a year at the latest. And so they're like, cool, whatever. Seriously, they don't care. It's funny. Man, that last clip was an absolute train wreck at the end, but I'm probably going to leave that in the video because I find it so funny when I start to just trip all over all of my words. My brain goes at like a much faster speed than my mouth can travel at. So it's always funny, but hopefully that answers your questions on the insurance side of things and then also on the vehicle maintenance side of things. And hopefully that answers why I purchase the vehicles that I purchase, right? I like to buy vehicles that hold their value really well so that I don't lose money when I sell them. And then vehicles that are also frankly cheap to maintain so that I'm not paying a bunch of money in maintenance costs on them. And then also insurance costs as well, because I promise you, if, you know, I wanted to get real highbrow and bought some sort of like fancy luxury car, I wouldn't have that situation, because then I would start to lose money on depreciation. Maintenance costs would also be more as well. And then I'm sure the insurance premium would also be more, because I would go from having, you know, a Ford F-150 or a Ford Mustang to, I don't know, like maybe if I had like a, I don't know, a BMW X5 or just some other sort of like fancy luxury car. So it pays to buy normal people cars that have been souped up. I guess that's the moral of today's video. But anyways, I'll see ya.